start of a new week and start of a new news cycle as we move into the news for the week. Or for Monday, not just the week. Um we start with some news about past WrestleManias as The Undertaker was featured in a recent interview with Ariel Helwani, and Taker was uh of course one thing that was mentioned was Taker's history at WrestleMania. And Taker went on record to say that two names that were past WrestleMania, past potential people to defeat him at WrestleMania. Now I know offhand that Randy Orton and Mark Henry were two people that were rumored in the past, but also Taker mentioned Vladimir Kozlov and Edge as potential people that could have defeated him for WrestleMania, or defeated him at WrestleMania, I should say. I know offhand that Edge, Randy Orton, and Mark Henry all said no. I believe Kurt Angle was also rumored, and Kurt Angle said no. And that's why they did the match in 2006 at No Way Out, because originally Taker and Kurt Angle were supposed to fight at WrestleMania, but Kurt Angle said no to beating Taker at WrestleMania. Edge also said no. I think Vladimir Kozlov initially was supposed to, but the plans changed. I don't think Vladimir Kozlov said no. I don't remember. I don't remember about Heidenreich. I think Heidenreich may have also been rumored too. But point is, this also opened the door for Ariel Helwani to ask Taker about Brock winning at WrestleMania and being the one that ended the streak initially. And Taker said that he doesn't know if Brock needed it at that point, and that it wouldn't have benefited Roman more if Roman was the one that broke the streak. I would say that realistically, if Roman was the one that broke the streak, unless they turned him heel after the fact, I don't think that Roman would have been able to come back from that, in my opinion. I don't know that Roman would have been able to come back from that, in my opinion, as a babyface, if he was the one that broke the Undertaker's undefeated streak. Because think about how Brock was after WrestleMania, and how much of a heel he was after WrestleMania, and how much heat Paul Heyman got anytime he would say, "My name is Paul Heyman, and my client Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania." And then he would go on and say, every time he walked out to the ring, "My client Brock Lesnar is the 1 in 21 and 1. He defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania." And that would get a reaction every single solitary time. I mean, I don't blame Edge. I don't blame Vladimir Kozlov. And the funny thing is, Taker even said that he didn't even know Edge rejected the idea of winning at WrestleMania. And he didn't know about it until later that Edge rejected the idea of winning at WrestleMania. And he said it showed Edge's respect for The Undertaker, the streak, and all Taker had done in WWE, that he would reject that type of opportunity, winning at WrestleMania and being the one to defeat The Undertaker. Another quick bit of information as we jump over to AEW, as The Big Show, aka Paul White, is still ready to return to the ring and will be returning to the ring at some point. And he even put up some ideas of who he would like to fight in his return, mentioning names like Kenny Omega, Darby Allin, and possibly, potentially even teaming with somebody like Satnam Singh. and doing force at him saying what The Undertaker did for him in WWE. But I don't know necessarily. I don't doubt the fact that we will see Captain Insano, because that has been a rumor for quite a while that Captain Insano will be making his presence felt in AEW, which is a character that Paul White did in the Waterboy movie back in the day. And he has mentioned more than one occasion that he would love to bring Captain Insano to AEW. But I don't doubt the fact that we will see Captain Insano in some form or fashion. But I also don't doubt the fact that if Paul White wants to return to the ring for one more run, then he may need to turn heel one more time in AEW to allow for that type of run to take place. Because I don't know that people will want to see Paul White in the ring and be happy to see him competing outside of a one-shot thing. Because also him competing in general, or maybe him competing against somebody that isn't QT Marshall, may prompt the fans to actually be happy to see him in the ring. But also, depending on who it is, they may be like, oh, well, why are you taking time away from somebody who actually deserves it, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And that could lead to questions or comments of turn him heel, turn him heel, turn him heel, because people may not want to see Paul White in the ring. People may not want to see Paul White in the ring, but that is something that we've been hearing for months and months and months at this point, after Paul White's knee surgery last year over at the end of the summer. Speaking of AEW, though, as we wrap up this edition of the news, QT Marshall will have his debut edition of QTV on this week's episode of Dynamite with Powerhouse Hobbs as his special guest. The best way to put it is, this week's episode of Dynamite is going to be a special one with the triple threat, the three-way six-person the three-way trios title match with the House of Black against the JAS against the Elite, in what should be a good match, but also a borderline clusterfuck if they're not careful, because having a match with 9 people in it, it's a lot hard. It's very hard to make the match intriguing, interesting, and fun. But I think, and I'll say this if I decide to do a recap or a preview of Dynamite, which I might, because Dynamite's making its debut in Winnipeg tomorrow. On Wednesday, rather, sorry. That the House of Black should win. And if anything, it should prompt something with the Elite and the JAS, as opposed to bringing down the House of Black and letting the trios titles only be a short reign with the House of Black, as opposed to giving them a long reign with the trios titles. But with that being said, that is AEW news out of the way, and we're going to save the rest of the news, including potential, including some interesting Impact Wrestling news, and some potential interesting news for NXT. So we'll save that for the next news video. With that being said, I will see you in that video.